So in the very beginning, we should start from here, from the MagiCAD dataset, which I mentioned is like a MagiCAD project management, as we call it as dataset. So we should start from there. And here you can find it in the tab of MagiCAD Common. You can find it from here, MagiCAD Common, and here is Manage Dataset. Here is a Manage Dataset. So we can start from here. And here we can create a new dataset first. When you click Create, then there will be two paths for dataset. There will be two options. Yeah. So please do not mix them. They are separate setting for the path. For the first one is the new dataset. It means the dataset you will create. So it is a new one. Yep. And you can save the file as you want. Where the place, what is the name, you can define it by yourself as you want. And the second path is a template. It's a dataset template. It's different with RTE, I should say. Because as I mentioned in the very beginning, there are two kinds of template. One is Revit template, which name is RTE. The other one is our MagiCAD dataset template. So here is the template for MagiCAD dataset. So there are two paths. So please do not mix them. For example, here for the first one, I always save the file same as project file. I mean the RVT file, because we usually deliver both of RVT file and the MagiCAD dataset to others. So I usually save the MagiCAD dataset file same as RVT file. Okay, for example, here I can save it on my desktop, like create a new folder. This one, just name it, and provide the name here. Something like this, then click open. So here is the first path. It is the name, it is the file you created by yourself, and where you want to save it, the given name, you can define it as you need. So that is the first path. Okay, but before you click apply, you should also define the path of template. Otherwise, if you do not click this one, you can also create a MagiCAD dataset file, but it is empty without any definitions, because we have some kind of default or default settings in the template, in the MagiCAD dataset template. So strongly suggest you to select this one. Okay, and when you select the template here, you should locate the template which I mentioned in the very beginning. You still remember that those support folders and which name is dataset. It is the template of MagiCAD dataset. So you can locate the file there like this. It's the default path, as I mentioned. It's our support folder. You can find it under the folder of dataset and common. Yeah, you can select a default template. Okay, so please define the two paths. Yeah, so first the path is the new file. You can save it, you can name it as you need. The second path is the default one. You should choose our default template. And after you define those two paths for a dataset, one is the new file, the other one is template. After you define the path, then you can click apply to create the file. And then you will find the file you created from the path you define. Here, you will find this one. After you click apply, then a new dataset file will be generated here. Okay, and the file name is MRV, is MagiCAD dataset file. And this file is only can be used by MagiCAD. So without MagiCAD, you cannot use this file, but the result which you created with MagiCAD, then that is RVT file, it means you can deliver the file to others who do not have MagiCAD. They can still using the result. They can still using Revit functions to modify the model. It doesn't matter. So this file, which is only can be used by MagiCAD, but it depends on the function. Without this file, you cannot use MagiCAD functions, but you still can use the Revit functions. So that is the file, okay? And then you can close this dialog, and ignore some kind of warnings here. It's because it's just like a warning in order to inform you have some different standard for the calculation, something like that, but we can ignore that, okay? Just click yes. And here we already create a new MagiCAD dataset file, right? And what we have inside the MagiCAD dataset, we can go through with it. Here is another function above the manage dataset. Here is the modify dataset. We can use this one because then you can have a look at what we have inside the MagiCAD dataset. So here you will see a lot of sightings for different disciplines, different MEP disciplines, no architecture, no structure at all. Because MagiCAD only focus on MEP disciplines. Okay, and here, for example, let me take ventilation as an example. Here we have duct series sightings, insulation series sightings, sizing methods, balancing methods, and some kind of device and components. We have some kind of management here. Okay, for example, let me take insulation series as an example. But with plain Revit, you should do like this: select the duct segment, define the thickness manually, right? And select another segment, define the thickness manually again, right? And in the real project, there is a kind of regulation or standard. It means the insulation thickness should follow the size of duct of pipe size, right? For example, like a duct like 200 diameter, then the insulation thickness should be like 40 millimeters, something like that. Okay, and here MagiCAD provides this kind of regulation inside the MagiCAD dataset. If you check one of them, for example, I can check this one, maybe like EI 45, something like that is default setting, and here we have this kind of regulation. You can have this one. You can have a look. Okay, for this one, for example, the left side is for the circular duct, and the right side is for the rectangular duct. And for the circular one here, you can see here for the maximum diameter is 80 millimeters, and the thickness of insulation is 45 millimeter. And if I have a bigger one, then the thickness should switch to 50. So this is the regulation which defined by MagiCAD, and then you can use this insulation inside the Revit in order to, how say that, generate insulation automatically according to the size of duct or pipe. Okay, so that is the regulation which we created inside MagiCAD. We can go through with that later. And here is another sightings, for example, like a balancing. For example, here you can define some default sightings like minimum or maximum value for the pressure drop of flow damper. For example, if you have please think about that situation in the real project. If you install a flow damper in the network and the pressure drop of this damper is like 1 or 2 Pascal. If you install a damper and the pressure drop is less than 10, then why should I install that damper? Right? So we define this kind of minimum or maximum value for the pressure drop of the flow damper. We define this one. At least you should have, for example, at this siting, you should have at least 20 Pascal as the pressure drop for this flow damper. Otherwise, maybe you do not need to install that one. It's too small pressure drop, right? Okay. So that is the definition of our MagiCAD balancing, and we also have this device and the components sightings and really detailed sightings here, because inside the Revit you only have a category, family category like a terminal device, air terminal device, only this one category, right? Or classification. Yeah, but with MagiCAD, we have supply device, return device, exhaust device, extract device. We have a lot of different classification. Yeah, so here you can see supply air device, extract or outdoor. Yeah, you have different, or maybe for the damper inside the Revit, the classification is duct accessories, right? Yeah, but in the real project we have fire damper, a flow control damper. Yeah, we have different classification. So here inside MagiCAD, we have this detailed classification for those devices and the components. Okay, so that is our dataset file, and we also have other settings in here. For example, for the device, you can define here the 3D product, the 2D symbols. You can create this link between them. Because with plain Revit, because as you mentioned, you mentioned you have ability to create families, right? And when you create a Revit family, and if you want to have a 2D symbol for the family, you should create them in one time to mix them, to combine them in one family, inside one family. But it's not flexible enough because in the real project, a lot of 3D models there, but only a few 2D symbols there. So you need to match them or map them, right? With MagiCAD, we can do that because we separate a 2D symbol file and a 3D model file. We created them separately. And with MagiCAD dataset file, we create this kind of link or relationship. So you can change the 2D symbol as you want. So that is the definition here, and we also have a lot of other definitions. For example, like provision for builders works, you can find in the bottom part. Provision for builders works. It is used to create openings, because in the real project you will have MEP elements, and those MEP ducts or pipe segment will go through the wall, go through the slab, right? And you should create openings for them. And when you create openings, you should have this kind of size regulation. For example, I should leave like 50 millimeters as a space, right? Okay, so we have this kind of regulation here. Then you can create those openings automatically according to this regulation. Yep. So we have a lot of regulation here inside the MagiCAD dataset. So why I call it as project management, MagiCAD project management. Okay, so and that is why we should start from here. Otherwise, you almost cannot use MagiCAD functions.